What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Goose Island Beer Company, and they are out of Chicago, Illinois, and this is their Bourbon County Brand Macaroon Stout, and this is the 2024 release. So this is an Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels with coconut, ginger, cacao nibs, and natural flavors. It comes in at 14.6% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review. This bottle is just under 3.5 months old, and it also has a drink by date of September 5th of 2029. So like most of the Bourbon County lineup, they give it 5 years before it's expired. It's undrinkable. It's terrible. Not really. It's just they let you know. Drink by that date. Anyway, so out of the variants that I can get my hands on here in the Western New York area, this was up there for me, just in general. If you don't know, I love coconut. I am a huge coconut fiend. A very good friend of mine, a fellow beer tuber, Kyle, over at No Hype Beer Reviews, recently labeled me the coconut police. He's the vanilla police. Even though there's a ton of vanilla in whatever beer he's drinking, it's never enough for him. Same thing with coconut for me. I need more coconut. I always need more coconut. In fact, the best coconut flavor I get from beers is typically from huge barrel-aged beers like this, like the old school Firestone Walker lineup, like Sukaba and Parabola, and then some of the old Goose Island vintages of their just regular Bourbon County Stout. So a lot of people commented on my Bourbon County Brand Original Stout review, where it's a very polarizing release this year for the base. A lot of people don't think it's all that good. A lot of people love it. I was somewhere in between. I thought the nose was immaculate, but the taste was a letdown. A bit too thin, a little bit too much of the barrel, and not letting the base beer shine. It was still good. Gave it a 4.2 out of 5. Just fell a little flat compared to prior vintages. This, however, I've seen some reviews, both on YouTube and my Untapped friends checking it in on Instagram, and I feel like a lot of people think this is better than the base. However, there are some of my friends who have said the ginger character dominates this one and kind of, I won't say ruins it, but just like the barrel dominated the base, kind of, didn't really work for them as well. However, I'm here for it. I like ginger. They're using candied ginger in this, toasted coconut. They don't list the toasted or the candied ginger. And they said on their website cocoa nibs instead of cacao nibs, but whatever, we're not going to sit here and worry about that. So I'm looking forward to this one. I am curious to see how this one ends up, if it wins me over or not. I hope it's better than the base, at least from a standpoint of, I always have the setup perfectly. Try to put the cap on there, and then I just mess it up. Give it a pour. I just hope this is better than the base. Now, it's pouring out thicker than the base. When I poured the base, it definitely looked thin. It did, when you get those nice, viscous, barrel-aged beers, looks like motor oil. It did not. This didn't look like motor oil either, but it definitely looked thicker than the base. So there are sheets that are coating the sides of the glass, and I didn't notice that as much in the base. So there's definitely sheets. There's not legs, there's sheets. It's coating the glass. Yeah, I mean, hold it up to a light. It's more of that, deeper dark brown. On camera, it's gonna look pitch black. I had about a half finger of this, we'd say lightly tan colored head, maybe beige, khaki colored. Yeah, it is gone now. There's like little specks on the side of the glass. I wonder if that is like the coconut that they use in this, or maybe the ginger or whatever. I doubt it's the cacao nibs, but definitely see them on the sides of the glass. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera, but didn't notice that with the base. So anyway, let's get a nose. Now, this is straight out my darker beer fridge. 54 degrees Fahrenheit, so I don't drink these too cold. And since I'm not one of those beer reviewers that will drink it and come back and give you his final thoughts and whatnot, typically I like beers like this to already be, at the very least cellar temperature, and then let them warm up as I'm reviewing it and whatnot. But this is not ice cold, and I am really not picking up on a whole lot of the adjuncts. Again, the base had this nice chocolate cake. I said Wegmans Ultimate Chocolate Cake, or even a Black Forest cake because there was some cherry. I'm just getting fudgy brownie batter in this one. So maybe the cacao nibs are screaming. But it smells very, very akin to prior vintages of the base beer, where you'd get fudgy brownie, fudgy cake, a big, rich and aromatic chocolate characteristic, and that's what I'm getting in this. There is this other sweetness that kind of reminds me of like a faded maple syrup, which is weird because, I don't know, it shouldn't be there. There's some nice lightly roasted malt in here. Definite vanilla and oak from the barrel, but the barrel's a bit toned down from the base, which with all those adjuncts, I kind of expect that. I am getting 0 toasted coconut, and I'm getting 0 candied ginger in the nose. And if somebody knows, and I'm just going to say this, not to flex. Oh, I'm going to flex on you. There's no flexing. This is beer. There's no flexing whatsoever. But as somebody who drinks as many pumpkin beers as I do, and then like winter warmers and holiday beers that use a lot of ginger, I would feel like I would be able to pick out the ginger if it's in this nose right now. I can't pick it out. Like, it's not distinctive whatsoever for me. But neither's the toasted coconut. Yeah, I mean, this just smells, honestly, like what I hope the base would smell like. It's rich, fudgy, brownie batter, chocolate cake, and the barrel's here, but it's not overbearing. It's a vanilla oak, little peppery bourbon. There is some dark fruits, like a little bit of that cherry, touch of roasted malt, maybe a bit of like a caramel toffee thing, molasses. This smells fantastic, honestly. But it doesn't smell like an adjuncted Imperial Stout outside of maybe the cocoa nibs or cacao nibs, I guess. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's hope that it's delicious. Cheers, everyone. Pretty damn good. It's pretty fucking good. Go back in. So, what I would say about this beer is that the cacao nibs are present in the taste as well as the nose. I'm definitely getting bigger chocolate vibes in this one than I got in the base. And I got pretty big chocolate vibes in the nose. It didn't carry over as much to the base, but this is fudgy. Again, brownie batter, chocolate cake, something like that. It's really, and that's definite toasted coconut flakes. Like, I'm looking at my glass right now and there's little white specks everywhere. Like, it has to be the toasted coconut. So, we all know beer's subjective. We all have different tastes. I love toasted coconut. I'm getting a little bit in the taste. A very small amount. I'm getting 0 of the candied ginger. Now, I love macaroons. Like, they're fantastic. And I was hoping that the ginger wouldn't be too overwhelming in this. I like ginger. I like ginger beer. I like ginger ales. I like ginger in different, kind of desserty characteristics. I love, like pickled ginger. I was thinking, from what I've seen from some people say the ginger was overwhelming, that I was going to be very disappointed with this. The ginger is not really relevant here. Like, it just isn't to my palate. Now, again, we're all different, but I'm not picking up on any ginger, which is wild. Yeah, I just kind of still want to sit here and drink this. But I'm reviewing it. Joe, you're on camera. Really? Okay. All right, body. It's a bit thin. It's thicker than the base, though. If the base, I think, was like, I think this is like higher side of medium, lower side of full. This is like lower side of full to medium body. It's still not up to par, I think, for what I want out of a Bourbon County beer, but it's not far off. Like, it's almost there. So it's a touch thin, a very slight. It's a bit thin. Shout out to Paul over at PA Brew News. But at the same time, it's better than the base in terms of the body. So I'll give kudos to that. Somehow it's bigger than the base. I don't get it. Anyway, the mouthfeel's nice. It has a mild to moderate carbonation. It's a little bit softer on the palate, smoothness to it, touch of creaminess. Mouthfeel's nice. Body's nice. I like it. The taste is interesting because I'm going to even let this warm up a little bit. Like I said, 54 right on my fridge. As we talk about, So right at the forefront, I do get roasted malt. It's a nice firmly roasted malt, a little bit more so than the nose was indicating. And then it turns right into fudgy chocolate galore. Like I said, I'm saying brownie batter, a little bit of that chocolate, that Wegmans Ultimate Chocolate Cake. You don't really say anything that has a fudgy aspect to it, including fudge itself. And I'm here, it's like a fudgy, like dark chocolate too. Like it's a little bit more of like a bittering, not super sweet chocolate. I'm getting like molasses and caramel and toffee, those caramelized sugars, maybe even a touch of, yeah, actually a little bit more than a touch of brown sugar. I will say in this one, the dark fruits are not popping, especially that cherry. There's a little bit of cherry here. There's a little bit of plum, a touch of like almost like a raisin, like a yogurt covered raisin. So I'm getting more of like a vanilla accentuation to the raisin. But for the most part, this is all about the fudgy chocolate and those caramelized sugars. As it passes through, though, and gets about halfway, 2/3 way through the palate, I do get a little bit of like a toasted coconut. Very, very small, minute kind of touch to it. And would I say that if I didn't know it was in here? Maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't. I don't think I would. But knowing it's in there, I can kind of pinpoint, okay, it's there, I get it. And it's just a very mild toasted coconut flavor. The barrel hits at the same time. Again, it has that vanilla oak, peppery, spicy kind of bourbon characteristic. Finishes semi-dry with a mild to moderate bitterness. There might be an ever so slight touch of that ginger on the finish. Some of the beers that I've been reviewing for the holiday beers for the month of December 2024. Some of them have ginger in the spices because they're American winter warmers, or it just says ale with spices. And the ginger in a couple of them have been very prominent. I'll just be honest with you. I'm reviewing this one a couple days after I reviewed the Imperial gingerbread inspired milk stout from Cinderlands. You'll see this a couple days before that, which is why I was hesitant to, sometimes I review stuff out of order, and this is one of those times. That beer was ginger dominant. Like, you want to talk about ginger beyond belief? Try that beer out. Like, that was, and I'm a guy who likes ginger, and that was just a lot of ginger. I still enjoyed the beer to some degree, but it was overwhelming. And if you were somebody who hated ginger, there's no way you would ever want to drink that beer. The ginger, I don't know. I've seen some people say the ginger was very prominent and just overwhelming. I'm not seeing it personally. It's sweet, it's rich, it's decadent, it's not cloying, which is nice. Again, I think that like semi-dry kind of finish, that mild to moderate bitterness really helps out. This is still a sipping beer. It's a barrel-aged beer. It's still a sipping beer. All right, so pros and cons. Pros, I'll tell you right now, I like this more than the base. As a whole, from front to back, just as a whole, this is a better beer. It's still not mind-blowing. It's still not like amazing variant to me. And I gave the base a 4.2. This is going to get slightly higher. What I would really personally like to see out of this one is more toasted coconut. I would like to see any of the ginger outside of that very slight mild ginger flavor on the palate. I wouldn't want to see it like too overwhelming, but a little bit more ginger would be nice. I think the cacao nibs are beautiful in this. I think it's actually giving me that fudginess. And that's about it. I mean, as far as the adjuncts go, I think the base beer, the balance between the barrel and the base beer is beautiful in this. This is kind of what I want regular Bourbon County to be. So, yeah, I mean, 14.6%, huge warm in my chest. It's on fire, to be honest with you. It's like real boozy, kind of like the base. No astringency on the palate. There's no ethanol. I'm like not bringing anything out, but like my chest is on absolute fire right now. Shout out to Train. Train's been making an appearance lately. Again, I would say I don't know if it shows up on camera, but if I be quiet for a second, you'll hear it. See, you hear it. So I'm not crazy. So this is how I'll sum this one up. I like it better than the base. The only adjunct that shines is the cacao nibs. I think the balance between the base beer and not the base Bourbon County Original Stout. I'm just talking about the base, Imperial Stout that they put in these barrels. I think the barrel is less prominent in this one. The base beer shines more, and it kind of reminds me of prior vintages of the regular Bourbon County, but it has, 3 different adjuncts and natural flavors in it, and the only thing I'm really getting is the cacao nibs with a slight tinge of that toasted coconut, and then maybe a smidge of the candied ginger on the finish. But as a whole, this is pretty fucking good. It's just, It's another variant from Bourbon County that I mean, I could have done without this one, to be honest with you. It's still really fun. You know, I've seen a lot of people, I don't want to say anybody's being melodramatic out there, but I've seen really a lot of people just absolutely shit on the base Bourbon County, and I just don't see it. And again, come back to subjectivity in beer. I get it. But I have not had like a bad, and when I say bad, I'm talking about a bad beer in general, from the Bourbon County lineup outside of the infected ones back in the 2015-16 realm. Like outside of that, they're always good to varying degrees. Some are better than others. This year, just I think the base just so happens to be a miss for what they're looking for, or for what I'm looking for. And same thing with the variants. Like last year, a lot of people poo-pooed. Is that a word? Poo-pooed? On the, I think it was the Backyard Rye, which is the berry one, and then the Bananas Foster. I didn't have either of those, so I couldn't tell you. But same thing with this. I saw people going, oh, the ginger's just, you're tearing my palate up. Again, we're all different. I get that, but I'm barely getting any ginger here. I'm like, where's the ginger? Where's the toasted coconut? I bring it to the forefront. You say it's in here. You're going for a macaroon. I'll say this. It does not replicate a macaroon in barrel-aged Imperial Stout form, to me. That doesn't mean this isn't a good beer, though, because I clearly am enjoying it. All right, so rating on the Bourbon County Brand Macaroon Stout, the 2024 release from Goose Island. If I gave a 4.2 to the base, I'm going to give this a little bit higher. And I am going to give this a solid, very enjoyable 4.3. We'll give it on the other side of the 4.25 realm. A 4.3, I think is fair for what I'm drinking here. Again, not one of the better variants I've had. It's still a good variant, and it sucks that I sit here and I call this a 4.3 out of 5, and it acts like I'm giving, or I act like I'm giving this a 3.3 out of 5 or something. I'm not. It's just, there's a certain standard, and I said this in the other review I did last week, there's a certain standard when it comes to these Bourbon County beers that I think we all have. You know, they're expensive. This variant, we'll talk about it momentarily, is very expensive. I need a certain quality to the beer if I'm paying that price. And this year, I don't think the quality of these beers is equivalent to the price point that I'm paying and that a lot of us are paying. And I think that's where the disappointment for me comes into consideration, especially since these are like special beers. Every Black Friday, you go out and get them. It's kind of a whole thing. So, but still, 4.3 out of 5, you would think I'm, like I said, I'm giving this a substantially low rating. I'm not. It's just, it's a damn tasty, I've been saying this a lot, replying people, it's a damn fine barrel-aged Imperial Stout. And it is, but there's a little left to be desired. You know, there's a little bit more I want from this one. So anyway, price point availability. Here's where it goes wonky with this one. Now the base, I think I said I paid $13.99, which I think I did. It's either $12.99 or $13.99, I can't remember. All of these variants over like the last 3 years, like the normal ones, this, the Vanilla Rye this year, the Backyard Rye last year, Bananas Foster, and then prior year, I forget, they did a couple other ones. You know, none of them that come in the fancy box and whatnot. In my area, Buffalo, New York area, $24.99 for a variant. Almost double the price of the base. Is this worth double the price of the base? It is. No. Just plain and simple. No. Is it better than the base? It is. Is it better than the base by, you know, a $12 difference or whatever? It is not. So, I would just rather have even this year's base, despite the fact that it's thin and that the barrel is more dominant. I would rather pay the $13.99 for that base beer than pay $25 for this ever again. It is what it is. So I think from an aspect of, you know, is it worth it? Is the price point, is there value here? Probably not. And then the availability is, if you see the Goose Island beers, the 3 that I think pretty much showed up everywhere, the base, this, and a Vanilla Rye. And again, Vanilla Rye. I'm probably going to review that one next Sunday. I posted the original one last Sunday. I'm posting this. You should see this on a Sunday. Next Sunday, I'll do the Vanilla Rye. Another one, polarizing. I've seen some people go, oh, that tastes like straight on vanilla extract. It's not great. Too vanilla. I don't get the rye. It covers up the base beer. And then other people are like, yeah, this is the greatest Vanilla Rye variant they've ever released. I'm curious to see what I think about that one. But I will say that both of these beers that I've reviewed have been disappointing. Again, keep in mind, disappointing from the aspect of comparing it to prior Bourbon County releases, prior variants. The quality of these beers is not as good as yesteryear. Just plain and simple for myself. 2 beers in, just don't do it for me like they used to. But comparatively speaking to a lot of other barrel-aged beers you can get on the market, they're still really good. They really are. So, you know, when you're doing reviews like this and you're sitting down and spending 15, 20, 25 minutes like I do, breaking a beer down, talking about it, this is more of, I almost my reviews have like morphed into like more of a conversation with you guys and just kind of riffing and kind of, yeah, I ramble, no doubt, but I like to riff and talk about stuff. And I think that makes for a more enjoyable review for myself, hopefully for you guys. If you just want to get right to the review, I'm sure you can cut out like, 75% of this, and that's cool. I'm not one of those guys that be like, oh, it's got to be a 6 or 7 minute review, whatever. I talk, and when I'm done talking, I turn off the camera. That's how it works. But yeah, so this is where I'll leave you to. I want to hear from you guys. And I say this, a lot of you guys have responded, especially with the original. What do you think about this variant if you've had it this year? Was the ginger too prevalent for you? Did you get any of the toasted coconut? How did the adjuncts come through? Did you think this was better than the base? Do you think this is worse than the base? Let me know, because I will say I'm disappointed as a whole through the 2 of the 3 beers that I picked up. But I'm also not angry or just like whatever. Like, they're still good beers. I'm going to drink the rest of this and not think twice about it. It's just, man, I've been drinking Bourbon County stuff now for, I think it's been 12 years. I think the original Bourbon County I picked up was the 2012 release. And yeah, when you start comparing them in your own mind to what you remember of a lot of these beers, you start thinking to yourself, like, yeah, it's not as good as this year. It's better than this year, whatever the case may be. And I've always been one of those people that I always hate when people go, oh, this beer's good, but it's not as good as last year's, or it's not as good as it was back, 10 years ago. And now I've become one of those people where it's like, no, that's what I'm saying right now. So I get it. I kind of get it. This is not as good as prior vintages. So this is not as good as many of the prior variants. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as the beer is good. It's just, it didn't deliver on what I expected, and here we are. So I'm going to shut this one down. If you watch to the end, post in the comment section, where's the toasted coconut? Question mark. And then I'll know you watch to the end. And for everyone else who comments and doesn't say, where's the toasted coconut? I know you didn't watch to the end. Therefore, I think less of you. Oh, yeah. You're not going to watch an entire 25-minute review from the Beer Patrol. You're on the shit list, okay? No, I appreciate everybody, but I'm curious to see who watches the end. Some people do, some people don't. I get it. But yeah, anyway, rambled on long enough. Like I said, I want to hear from you guys. Post in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. 14.6%, big warm in my chest, into my stomach, from my neck down and into my stomach. Everything's on fire. It's very warming. This is a perfect warming beer. It is actually today's 40 degrees outside. So I probably should have waited to drink this, but I waited long enough. I'm going to shut this one down. The coconut police is out. To the next one. Cheers. Oh yeah. Like I said, rich and decadent, sweet, not cloying. And I just want to mention that because a lot of times these can be cloying, rich, decadent, too much. Want to share that bottle? I'm going to drink the rest of it. And I've drank a decent amount, just like I did with the last review. And I'm going to finish that up probably tonight. We'll see. I might cap it for tomorrow. I don't really care. Yeah, bye. Cheers.